In this video, you will get an overview of the latest greenmatch developments, including credit lines, more OPEX options, defining the financial year and an updated design. You can now model credit lines in greenmatch. Navigate to the debt section to model a credit line. In contrast to a reserve account, a credit line does not tie up any capital within the project. To add a credit line, click on the Add button. Afterwards, you have to define the inputs of the credit line. You have to define the maximum amount of money, which can be drawn. The usage defines for which purposes the credit line can be drawn. If you choose free cash flow, debt service and reserves, the credit line is used if liquidity gaps arise from the free cash flow, the regular debt service or the internal reserve buildup. If you choose debt service, the credit line is only used if a liquidity gap would arise from the debt service. If you choose none, only the fee for the credit line is considered and you will still have liquidity gaps. With the start and end inputs, you can define the period over which the credit line can be drawn. The fee defines which percentage you have to pay on the provided capital. With the interest rate, you can define the rate which has to be paid on the drawn capital. In the OPEX section, you now have even more options for recording positions. You can now add a position as a percentage of injected equity. For example, if you have to pay 1% per year of injected equity as an OPEX. The function uses the line item injected equity of the balance sheet as the basis for calculation. Further variables have been added to the custom mode. In addition to the total revenue or the revenue from the previous period, only certain revenue categories such as market prices, PPA revenue, feed-in tariffs, or other revenue can now be used as variables. This means, for example, that an operating cost item which only occurs if revenue is generated via market remuneration can be modeled within a few clicks. For this purpose, an if formula with the variable market can be added. Until now, all views in greenmatch were available in the monthly, quarterly, and calendar year view. To make it easier for companies that do not use the calendar year as their fiscal year to utilize greenmatch, the start of the financial year can now be defined for each project and for each portfolio. Navigate to the master section of a project or portfolio to define the start of the fiscal year, for example October. Afterwards, all graphs and tables show a customized aggregation of the quarters and years. This setting has no effect on the calculation of key figures, such as returns, as all key figures are calculated on the basis of monthly figures. We have made several improvements to the design. For example, numerous views are now optimized for wider screens. In the detailed view of all objects, inputs, and the output graphic or table are now displayed next to each other in a clearer layout. Adding or editing inputs can now be found at the top left of the respective input area. You will find the icons for editing and copying to the left of each object. This means you will find all actions for creating or editing inputs close together. In addition, the input views have been organized to save space and numerous input fields have been redesigned and logically organized for the user. Many inputs have also been clarified for better understanding, for example the financing mode, where the options now are from operating cash flow or from external financing. Several functionalities are now better placed. For example, you can now find the tariff solver directly in the sales list. This solver is available for all sales objects with the driver production. Numerous output boxes, such as the key information in the project overview, have also been redesigned and now present additional technology-specific details. You have questions about our newest features? Feel free to contact our support team at support@greenmatch.ch.